I'm reading you because that's the other thing that people don't understand about Black children. Black children can read you before the developmental charts say they can.
Hello, everybody. I'm Quisha King. Welcome to the Quisha King Show. So I wanted to show you guys this doctor who is literally harming kids, but saying that she's helping them. Let's go through this and help this doctor out.
What is the symptomology of post-traumatic slave syndrome? Because the truth of the matter, it's not a diagnosis. It's not post-traumatic stress disorder, which is treated with medication and talk therapy and any number of other things. Post-traumatic suggests that not only have you been harmed physically, you've been harmed emotionally, you've been harmed spiritually, you've been harmed economically,
Right.
you have been harmed politically, you've been harmed, and that requires.
If you are in Christ, you can't harm me without my consent, basically. No, you can't just dump something on me. I have to choose to let the thing that you're trying to do to me actually take root in me. People like this, they act like, there's some magic wand that you can just wave, and whatever a white person says or does has to automatically affect you. Life don't work like that. Not only does it work like that for white folks or any color, it's like that for everybody. I can choose whether or not I am harmed by whatever somebody says or does. You can choose. In the context of what she's talking about, what she's pushing is that you don't have a choice, that everything that's put out there, you have to automatically take in, but you don't. You don't have to do that. That is a lie from the pit of hell.
Requires more than medicine and talk therapy. That requires justice. Healing cannot happen without justice, because we'd love that to be it, because all they do is put a code in the DSM and figure out how to get paid for injuring us. Are you following?
Ooh.
Healing cannot happen without justice. So what if something happens to you and you don't get justice? So what? So if something traumatic, like truly traumatic, I'm not saying that, some white person don't like me. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm traumatized. No, I'm talking about real abuse, real harm. There are things that happened to me when I was a little girl. Read between the lines. There was no justice. There was no justice. Am I supposed to sit in that? This is crazy. She is telling you to wallow, to sit in things that sit in trauma if the other person, if they don't get punished for it. That ain't God. What this lady is trying to do is implement some new type of healing. This is justice healing. You got climate justice, you got social justice. Now we got healing justice. But the Bible tells us that justice is going to come from God. You don't look to man to give you justice. Now, we in America can use the law to provide some type of justice, but ask a parent whose child has been murdered. Ask them, do they really feel like justice has been served just because the person went to jail? There's still going to be a hole there that only God can fill. What this lady is trying to teach is actually furthering trauma. It is not helping you heal, because now you're looking for the white person to blame. Because all of this is put on white folks. It is never pointed to you to say, you know what, there are things that I have to do within myself to overcome. You can't look outside for inside heal. You can't do that. It don't work like that.
Oh, Doc.
I'm just saying, and so when I think about it on a practical level for those that are your listeners or your viewers, and I want people to start looking at everyday behavior that we've normalized. That is adaptive behavior. It is survival behavior.
You give this example of being at the bank, and you got the little children at the bank. The mother standing there with her little son at the bank, and in the line.
In the line.
Yeah.
In the line. So what, I don't know, I am 67 years old, and I knew where I was in the bank. And what I asked Black people to this day, I said, when you were little and you were in any place of business, not just a bank, but particularly in the bank, where were you in proximity of your parent? You are right next to him.
And if you do not move,
and you try get your, I don't know what the snap is, but the snap is in there. Get your, right. Child can't move. The child cannot move. Sometimes they're literally holding on.
Absolutely.
Right. So this is a bank, the mother, the father, with the little kids in the same bank. They're white children. They rolling around, they sliding down the aisle, rolling on the rings, coming up to you saying, "Oh, that's pretty hair. I like, what's your name?" That's a kid rolling around. Now, the Black children are adhered to their parents. But you see something, this is a nonverbal communication now. There's something that both sets of children are learning. Both sets of children are innocent. They're just children, but they're learning. And the Black children are learning anger, fear, and shame.
Absolutely.
Right there. Nobody said a word. And it is reinforced. I mean, what's so deep about it is they can't move. Now, the white children are going, they can't move. Something must be wrong with them. Because they can't move.
This is
and then
stupid.
The Black kid.
This is dumb and dangerous, y'all. There's a time and a place for everything. I don't care what color the child is. If a child is running around in a bank or a place of business, they need to not do that. Okay? That is not good social behavior. I don't care what color the child is. Just because some other parent lets their child just run around like at a freaking orangutan doesn't mean you let your child do that. That don't have nothing to do with race. That is just upbringing of your children. Good upbringing.
Kids look and say, it's their world, not mine. Then when we look at the social constraints, because you see, this is not just an individual and one family. We've all been socialized. So now in the back of the line is another Black person. They don't know this Black mother or father and their children. They get to the counter. Now the kids are little. They're actually lower than the counter. And they're under the counter. Now, let me explain something. There is something called secure attachment, and there is a level of comfort in exploring one's environment.
Absolutely.
That's a normal human developmental phase for a child, to have a level of autonomy that says, I'm free to move, right?
Yeah, that's true, but not everywhere you go. We at the funeral. We're at a funeral. And little Johnny just doesn't understand, because kids don't understand what's going on, little kids. And so he just want to run around. Am I supposed to just let my child run around a funeral where people are grieving and all this kind of stuff? Because, kids deserve to have freedom. This is what they call progressive. This is what they call enlightenment. It's not enlightened. It's dumb. And look at what it's producing. This woman is too old to be saying stuff like this. But why does she think she can say it and she's right? Because she's gone through the institutions and she has been completely brainwashed. Oh, just everywhere you go, just let the children run wild.
Right. So now the children are underneath the counter. The parent is distracted, dealing with the teller. And the children are trying to escape. So they're sliding. They're trying to slide down because they're trying to actually fulfill that developmental task.
Right.
You see, it's in them to do. But the person in the back that doesn't know the parent sees the little escapees, and they give them the eye that only Black people can give. It's that stare.
Yeah.
And the kid goes, oh man, and they start moving back over. So here is a stranger that got your back now.
Yeah.
Now let's ask the question, why? Why is everyone behaving that way? If you ask the parent, they go, well, they don't need to be running around. They give you reasons.
Yeah.
That's where I was when I was in the bank. And what that has to do with the survival.
Yes.
We saw what happened when Emmett Till strayed just
Yes.
a little too far, just being a kid. Didn't even do what they said he did. He didn't even
Wow.
say, "Hey, baby," none of that happened. The woman who claimed that, wrote about it in her book,
Right.
that it was all a lie and they killed him. And so what we have learned is that we aren't safe. And that behavior, even when it is safe, it is locked in to our DNA that says we don't get to do that. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's so real.
This is a lie from the pit of hell. It is locked in because somebody put it in you, not because somebody close to you put it in you, not some slave master from 300-400 years ago, 250 years ago. No, it is because your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your uncle, people listening to people like her, the influencers, all of these people, the celebrities, the PE coach who told my own daughter, oh, well, she was going to the bathroom when she was in public school, going to the bathroom, laughing with a little friend. Oh, well, you can't be walking the halls, because you a little black girl, It's those people that's putting it in them. Those people that are speaking these curses over these babies. It ain't some nameless, faceless white guy. Stop the cap. This woman is a danger to society. This woman is a danger to kids.
Talk because I look at it even with my nephew. I have an 8-year-old nephew, and he has grown up as a free person, a free thinker, and so he has autonomy. We go.
Now, this is the daughter of Steve Harvey, the multimillionaire Steve Harvey. So his kids and his grandkids are very well taken care of. Okay? Let's see how she gonna make her little nephew be a victim.
Go out, he needs something, he will go up to the server. He's gonna get up, he's gonna make sure, right? But then there are moments, right, when he's at school, right? And my sister is like, I know you better not have them white folks calling me up there. Like, you don't have them white folks calling my phone about you.
Yeah.
So as much as he's been given freedom, there is a part of him and there's a part of you,
here we go,
even in this day and age, that says, but hold on now. I'm gonna let you explore. I'm gonna let you be free. I know you are a thinker. I know you got freedom, but there's a part that I still have to be vigilant, hyper vigilant about to keep you safe.
That's right. And here's what's
being a
interesting
parent
about that, right? When I talk to Black parents, and I actually have a 10-week graduate level.
Yes, there are predators in the world. So I have to be vigilant about you, where the places that you go, the things that you want to do. I have to parent you. That's not some spooky, hiding in the corner, white supremacy coming to get you. It's called you being a parent. Welcome to the real world.
And what I've learned is, you see, we have trauma associated with schools as adults. Black parents don't feel comfortable going into schools. My daughter did research on it, right?
There are so many Black people in the public school system, Black teachers. I mean, Black principals. I have friends that went to college they are principals and teachers. And what are you talking about? Black people are afraid to walk into the school. This is BS.
Triggered. We're triggered walking in there because we remember what happened to us. So when I'm in audiences and I say to parents, I said, you have a child, let's just, middle school, whatever age, doesn't really matter what age the child is. And you see the child has got a C on their report card. And you say to that child, why did you have this C? And they'll tell you, that's because my teacher, and I don't say the answer, it's because my teacher and the audience all at once says, doesn't like me.
Doesn't like me.
Okay,
My teacher doesn't like me. We are relationship-based people. That goes all the way back to our ancestors. We're relationship.
So what does that mean, that white folks aren't relationship-based people? As far as I'm concerned, if you are a human being, you're a relationship-based person. This is not exclusive to Black folks, okay? If you follow this kind of stuff, you will be led to darkness. This is bondage.
So our children grow up in that, and they go to school and they're ignored. And it hurts them. And they don't even have the words to articulate. They're only 4 or 5 years old. And all they know is I'm reading you, because that's the other thing that people don't understand about Black children. Black children can read you before the developmental charts say they can. They may not be able to articulate it, but they can tell.
Black children have special powers? Okay, Doc, help me understand. What exactly about Black children makes them have these special powers? The melanin helps them. So when you're born, and this melanin, what does it make you think faster, be more critically thinking? What exactly does melanin do? Because if it does, that means that pretty much what we would call white, they have the same capability, because everybody has melanin, unless you're like a freaking albino. This lady is playing every single person who was buying into this, and you're paying her to play you. You're paying this lady to play you. This fool said that Black children have special powers to be able to read you. This is supposed to be the intellectual. This is what you sound like when you have left critical thinking. You sound like this when you have not seeked wisdom. You are left to your own devices to make up whatever you want, and you sound like a clown
when you're not being sincere.
Right.
And then they get punished for it.
Ooh.
They punish them for that. And so again, I work in the community. I work with parents. I give them the language. I help them deal with how they're triggered, because when they were in school, they felt like they weren't smart enough. Teacher didn't call on them, or they were always looked at negatively. Another study, Yale Child Study, looked at a huge number of teachers. I think it was 126 teachers they looked at. We want you to look at this room full of children, and we want you to point out any potential problem you might see there. Any potential problem. Where the deception is, there was no problem behavior going on. They wanted to look at the trajectory of their gaze. They wanted to know, where did they look when they expected bad behavior?
Ooh.
And of course, it came out the same way we understand of all these kids that are getting expelled or kicked out. They look specifically at the Black boy.
Absolutely.
They look specifically at the Black boy. Even when there were two children off task, white and Black, not only both off task, doing the same off task behavior, they only saw the Black boy.
Absolutely.
Now, I would be curious, were these teachers were these students their students that they teach all the time, like on a regular, or were they just, random kids that they just hauled in and said, okay, there's a problem, let's see where your eyes look to, because that would be one thing. Or students that they are in regular, that they actually teach on an everyday basis. And the kids that actually cause the problems, those are the ones that they're looking at. Like, that could be a thing too. I'm just saying, like, there is a lot. This doesn't, the way she's explaining this does not mean that that's what they're showing, some type of bias, because there's a lot of context missing, for her to make that leap. Because kids are, we can look at the prison system and arrests and things like that. I'm sorry, but there are a lot of young Black men that do be causing problems. Like, that's a real thing. You can't ignore that. It's not just in the classroom. It's like when no white person is around, when no teacher is around, they're on their own are doing things. Okay. Like terrorizing communities. That's a real thing. Can't ignore that.
Absolutely.
And of these over 100 teachers, they weren't all white teachers. Do you see what I'm saying? When you close your eyes, the image, the same thing comes up. So here you have these children that aren't doing anything wrong,
but being children. They're being children.
And then they get punished for it.
This is deception. This whole, post-traumatic slavery. No, this is not. These triggers, these emotions that people have are not because it's some passed down thing from slavery. It is passed down from your parents teaching you this thing. Most Black people growing up are embedded with certain ideas. You got to work 10 times harder because you're Black. You know, you can't do such and such and such because you're Black. You know, you gotta, the white folks are gonna be after you because you're Black. You know, everything, all of this stuff because you're Black, because you're Black. These types of ideas are passed down from parents many times. This is not something that, kids just come up with on their own and it's just in you. No, this is something that is being taught to you. This so-called doctor she don't talk about that. She's doing the very same thing. She's continuing to impress upon you more to be a victim. You are forever going to sit in this trauma. There is nothing you can do about it. Yes, slavery happened 250 years ago, but it is still with you today. And there ain't nothing you can do about it until we get justice. And I would love to hear what her solutions are. I bet you it's appealing to the government, because that's all these people know how to do. They are so far removed from what Black Americans used to do. And that was actual belief in God, actually having faith, actually believing what the word says about them, that you are more than a conqueror, that, be cheerful because I have overcome the world. Like, you can sit back and relax, because if you were in me and I in you, there's no stopping you. Do not be deceived. My ways are not your way. Like, God, there's so many stories in the Bible and quotes that show you the world is going to say this about you, but here is what I say about you, and my way is the truth. So you have a choice. You can either believe and stay a victim, or you can believe, if God be for me, who can be against me? That's the only thing that matters. If you are waiting for the world to accept you, that's your problem. That's your problem. Especially if you are a Christian. You want to go down her route, she will lead you straight to the pit of hell. You will never succeed. You will never come out of trauma. You will never come out of anything that has ever happened to you, because people like her, they want to keep you in a victim mindset. Let me know what you guys think about what I think about this video. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.